Hello, this is the TruthCeeker333 coming to you live tonight. No, I don't really have a topic planned, but would like to know what you guys would want to talk about. It could be about anything that I've done a video on, or maybe you have a question of some sorts. I had a problem with my computer last time in that it overheated, so I've got it up on a little support here so that the air can flow underneath this laptop. So hopefully that'll help. And I noticed that it really didn't overheat until about the 2-hour point. So I mean, if it does get to that point and it overheats, then I guess we've been online long enough already, right? So this is sort of a temporary setup right now as I before it, because I'm going to be moving another computer into this room and hopefully getting a better camera up, so hopefully improve the quality of the feed here. So if any of you have any questions or you want to just talk about something, I'm still trying to figure out the Google Hangouts, but so far this has been pretty easy to figure out, and I downloaded the OBS software and seems to be working out quite well. It took me a while to figure it out. I had a few fail attempts maybe about a month ago, but then I was finally able to realize, you know, the all I really needed was that stream key, and as soon as I load that up in my streaming software and hit start streaming, it just goes directly to this YouTube page. Now, I don't know if I have my chat live here. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, looks like it's live. And what's been going on? Politics, obviously, but everybody I talk to is just like pretty negative about the whole thing. I find that there's just basically two different kinds of people. There's, you know, your outgoing type of individuals, and then you have your introverted, more introspective type of individual. And typically, this is sort of just a general judgment on the type of people. If you're conservative and you're outgoing, and you're really in touch with your feelings, chances are you're going to be more turned off by the Republican candidate, and you're not going to want to make a judgment in that regard, or like who you're going to vote for. However, if you're a conservative candidate and you're more just logical, just thinking about the traditional values and like who's going to basically do less damage to the country, not too invested, then it's not really that hard of a choice. But I see that it's a hard thing for those that are very in touch with their emotions. They're very outspoken. They're affected. They're affected by these emotions. In the fact that they just don't want to commit, they don't want to let people know, or they don't want to vote for anybody, you know. Kind of like Glenn Beck, you know. Glenn Beck, conservative guy, but he's just like really in touch with his emotions, and you know, he's kind of like a big teddy bear, you know. That's Glenn Beck. He's like a big teddy bear, and he's just an emotional guy, and so he doesn't want to make a commitment. He's like, you're conservative, but you don't want to. Somehow, you really want to connect with that person. Like if that person couldn't be your friend, then then that's it. I don't want to deal with them. Like that's kind of like how I see it. But at any rate, that's sort of my thoughts on the whole election process. Like I'm not really invested in the process. I'm pretty much just vote party line, move on with my life. Why is everybody got to make a big deal about the whole thing? When most of the time government's not really doing much for any of us at this point. But we just keep moving on, trying to hope for the right situation. That our country could turn around and prosper again. At any rate, so what else? We've got. Oh, what I was thinking about lately is it's like every part of the year now, it seems it's become some kind of a gripe fest from the liberal side of the political spectrum. It's like May, has suddenly become like May Day. That's like the time when all of the undocumented individuals, like illegal immigrant, undocumented citizen, they want to get out and they want to have demonstrations on May 1st or whatever. It's become the new May Day. It's like every year, that's the time of the year that they start turning the focus toward illegal immigration and how horrible it is for these undocumented individuals. And then of course you get after that you get like June, which suddenly has become Pride Month, and it's like then we're just filled with like tons of demonstrations on Pride and the plight of and then now what I notice is when we get toward this time of the year, we hit Columbus Day, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. Now it's all about the Native Americans. So it's like now the news they're all out there parading the Native Americans, and it's like, look at how they have had such injustice and how this country was stolen from them, and like everybody's out there, I hate Christopher Columbus and F Christopher Columbus and this. So it's like each each quarter of the year has pretty much been designated by the liberal establishment as the certain type of minority group that's going to get out there in front of the media for the next 2-3 months or whatever and just gripe and like become a big stink in the media. That's all that that's all our calendar has become now, is just a point of contention. It's all about anti-traditionalism, and that is pretty much the modern way is anti-traditionalism. If it's not traditional, then that's the way to go. If it's pretty much got to be anti-establishment, anti-traditional, conservatives aren't even allowed to be called conservatives anymore. They shouldn't just be conservatives. They need to be progressive conservatives, which basically means they're not traditional conservatives. So basically, the traditional conservatives are no longer allowed to exist. So yeah, that's like pretty much what I've been thinking about in that regard lately. And what else? What else we got going on? Well, what do we got? I got, I'm really happy. I've been in a new job lately. I got my job on April 1st of this year. And basically, it was not an April Fool's joke to me, but I was glad to have the job, even though the job paid less. So it's paying for what I need to get paid. I'm also trying to do some ride sharing here and there to just bring in a little extra, but honestly, that's been very difficult for me because I'm a very timid driver. So if I have any kind of negative experience, that pretty much shuts me down for the rest of the night, because I don't want to keep driving if I don't feel right. So, I may go out and drive somebody 8 miles or something, and then based on that first initial experience for the night, we're pretty much set the tone most of the time. If I ever have any kind of negativity on the ride, then I'm like, oh, you know what, I better just go home, because it's best for me to, number one, not drive while I'm distracted, not have any kind of anything tripping me up, in my head, because I really want to be able to, like, when somebody gets into the car, I need to be able to, whoops, I just noticed that my microphone was unplugged. Oh my gosh. I hope my microphone wasn't unplugged the whole time. All right, I'm going to start this. I'm going to stop this and start it over. And we'll go from there. All right.